You guys would like to have something else we'll throw into the show here?
What's something that you haven't had? I don't care what it is. And there's everything over there. I would say there's 2 bottles over there. I'm not going to open until my grandkids' birth. So
not even worried about that. I'm looking at something directly behind me.
Yeah,
that's already open.
Yeah,
what is it?
And I can't decide if the Weller Foolproof or the Weller 12.
Well, I'll tell you that Weller Foolproof. Jim went on that pick, but that Weller 12 is. I would say both of them are pretty hard to find.
Yeah,
I would say let's do the 12.
Yeah, you want to try the 12?
Yeah,
sure. Let's do some Weller 12. All right.
Welcome to another trip down the Bourbon Road with your hosts, Jim and Mike. So grab a glass of your favorite bourbon and kick back.
We would like to thank Tommy and Gwen Mitchell from Logheads Home Center for supporting this episode of the Bourbon Road. Find out more about their fine rustic furniture at logheadshomecenter.com. Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Shannon.
And I'm Mike Hyatt.
And this is the Bourbon Road. And Mike, where are we today?
We're out here on Jephthah Bend Farm in Shelbyville, Kentucky.
That's your house.
That's am I not my house? Yeah, we are.
And who do we have with us?
So we got some special guests. We got our listeners. Our number one listener, I think, is we got Jay and Jen Waller from South Carolina.
And you guys drove up here to visit the Bourbon Trail and to come hang out with us for a bit, huh?
We did.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah. So how long of a drive is that for you guys?
It's about 6.5 hours.
6.5 hours. Now, when did you leave?
We left yesterday morning.
Yeah.
And we went to Asheville first. We were going to see the Brent Cobb show. But with recent world events and COVID-19 going on, we decided it might be better to pull back and just go ahead and hang out at the hotel.
Yeah.
Instead of going to the concert. The venue was completely sold out. It was supposed to be about 4,000 people. So we said, maybe we shouldn't do that just to be on the safe side. And then we drove up here this morning.
So Brent was in North Carolina with you, and he's coming actually here, or he's supposed to anyway. I guess we'll find out, Mike, won't we?
Hopefully. I think it's going to be postponed, but who knows? You know, this coronavirus is definitely something scary, and you know, you guys probably made the right decision. Plus, you sat and drank bourbon last night, right?
Yes,
we
sir.
did.
So, I mean, we can kill that coronavirus with bourbon, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
As long as you don't put ice in it.
Yeah. Well, Mike and I and the girls, we were supposed to go see Brent Cobb tonight, and we had backstage passes to go back and have a podcast interview with him, and we'll see if that happens still. We don't know, but we'll find out. Anyway, you guys are staying in Lexington, Kentucky.
Yes.
And that's sort of your home base during your trip here.
Yes, sir.
And you're traveling around this morning. You were at
Buffalo Trace Distillery.
Yep. Well, we'll get into all of that. But Mike, what do you say we get into this first whiskey?
Yeah. So, you know, when guests come to our house and they bring whiskey, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
So what'd you bring us there?
Well, we brought the 6 and 25 grain bourbon whiskey from Powdersville, South Carolina.
6 and 20, is that the distillery name?
Yes.
Okay.
It's 45% volume, 90 proof. They claim to be the world's first 5 grain bourbon. So obviously they have corn, soft red, wheat winter, barley, rye, and their 5th grain is rice.
Okay.
That totally makes sense with South Carolina. You know, rice, low country is what their website said. And
Right.
Low country rice, I think. You kind of think grits, but rice too. There.
Yeah. So isn't rice grown like in South Carolina, Florida, like Mississippi,
Arkansas,
New Orleans,
yeah.
that whole southeastern coastal area, right?
Yeah.
Charleston has a lot of.
Charleston does?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. I've been in Charleston just a little bit. I was stationed there for many years, but it has been a long time since I was back. But anyway, so you've brought this, and this is a 5 grain whiskey. What's the proof on it? 90 proof.
5 grain bourbon. That's something definitely different. We've seen plenty of 4 grains out there, and they got their website's pretty nice. 6 and 20. I don't know if you two know this or not, but it was from a Choctaw maiden and an English trader that had a love affair that was pretty much prohibited back then, and they ran away together. So
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
Wow. So what's the 6 and 20 mean?
I don't know. The website doesn't say that. I was thinking that'd be awful bad if she was 6 years old.
And we haven't had the opportunity to go to the distillery to do a tour or anything like that yet either.
So Jay, this is your first time having this whiskey as well.
Yes, sir.
All right. Jen, you too.
Yes.
All right. Well, this is from your home turf.
Mm-hmm.
So you're traveling with a hometown whiskey. I should say.
Homemade hooch.
And the website states it's 3 year. So
Okay. So 3 year, 5 grade bourbon out of South Carolina, 90 proof.
Yes.
90 proof. All right. Well, let's check it out.
I've already been sipping on it. You know me.
Yeah, Mike, we kind of know.
Drinking on it.
Yeah. So that has now I'm not familiar with what rice brings to the ball game personally.
I think that sweetness.
Yeah, you think so?
I think a little bit of sweetness, and I think I could, when he knows it, I could smell a little bit of that, but I'm not sure. It's still tricky to the nose.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm really getting that barley though. I'm getting that malted barley. I'm getting that nose of a good Irish whiskey or a non-peated Scotch. But there's some rye in there. There's a little bit of rye in there.
Yeah, they got just a little bit on the back end.
Yeah,
which they say that on their website. One of the notes is cinnamon, and I think that would be that cinnamon taste.
Yeah.
Not pepper, but cinnamon's got that little bit of spice to it, little bite.
Well, you're already drinking it. I think we ought to move from the nose to the palate, huh? What do you think?
Look at Jay's over there like me. He's sipping on down.
What do you think?
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's a little light up front. I mean, it's definitely a light whiskey. I'd call it a spring whiskey. You know,
Yeah.
It is kind of spring outside, isn't it?
Right.
Jen, what do you think?
Yeah, it is
Kind
very
of spring
light.
here in Kentucky.
Yes, it's beautiful.
So what's your, to kind of get both of you, Jay, you're a military veteran.
Yes.
How many years?
24 year.
24 years. So that means, and how long have you two been married?
We've been married 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
So the last 7 years you were a military spouse.
Mm-hmm.
So I know me and Jim both did the military thing. So we don't
Right.
easily thank veterans because, you know, they did the same thing we did. But
Right.
we'll thank you for traveling along.
Well, actually, I was lucky. I met him when he was at Fort Jackson. So I did not have to travel.
You didn't have to travel at all. Well, that's
No.
not a whole lot of sacrifice
Yeah.
there, huh?
Right.
No, I was a
I
drill
caught the tail
sergeant.
end of him.
I was a drill sergeant at the time.
Well, there's
Right.
sacrifice with that, right?
Well, yeah. Long
Yeah.
hours.
Long hours.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys live in base housing? You live
No.
off base or
Off post.
Off
Yeah.
post. Yeah.
Yeah.
She said no.
Now, I've done both. So
Well,
Yeah.
base housing's changed a lot in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
You know, they've made it a lot better from, you know, when I came in, base housing was, that's horrible.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how people lived back then. We always call them vertical trailer houses.
Right.
You're absolutely right. I mean,
But then my son, we go down to see him at Barksdale Air Force Base, and they live in a brand new, I'd say 3-bedroom townhouse. Or a duplex, I guess, is what it is. And it is. I'm like, man, where were these things at when I was?
That's
active
right
duty?
outside of Shreveport, right?
Right outside of Shreveport.
I lived
Yep.
in Shreveport for a while.
Yeah, dirty South down there.
Yeah. I'm going to be polite.
well, I'll tell you what, going back to this whiskey a little bit, I will say this. I'd say it's, like I said, it was light. It's, and, you know, on the front of the palate, I think it's kind of, it's a light fruit for me, Mike. It's like a peach or a pear or a,
You had to get that peach.
peach.
Yeah.
It's not too sweet though, but on the back end, it is a little dry, I think.
it is very, very dry.
But you get that pepper or that rye spice on the back.
Yeah, I get the pepper.
I'd be interested where it goes in, 3 or 4 more years.
Yeah.
If they're going to bring their age statement up and they're trying to make it, it's understandable. People, whenever they open their doors, and they got some different products, they got to keep those lights on, and it looks like that's what they're doing. I'm not too big into the bottle itself. It's just
That's Stag Junior bottle.
bottle.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think a lot of distilleries find out when they get that bottle that they made the mistake and they should have did something different. That's, I guess, the only thing against it would be the bottle size. And that's not a bartender's bottle either. A lot of
No.
bartenders don't like that bottle because it's too big.
Yep.
Fine for me because I got these gigantic hands.
When you can't put it in speed racks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think that, it's got some good notes. It's got some things that I say, that's really good. I like that.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys brought it. I'm
Yeah.
excited that you brought something from your home state. That's important to me that, You know, I've got a bunch of I just say a bunch of Texas bourbons. I got 2 Texas bourbons, and I like to drink those and sample them and stuff. Even though I will say this, good bourbon comes from Kentucky. I mean, there's nobody could deny that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think good bourbon comes from South Carolina too.
Yeah.
I think that 6 and 20, this 5 grain, it's got some notes that are nice. I can see the future in it. It's a young bourbon, I think.
Yes.
Even at 2 or 3 years, it's still got a little bit of youth to it.
I don't think they made any mistakes with it. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing here that drives me away. There's something here that says, you know what, I might not run out and buy another bottle of this 3-year-old right now, but I'm looking forward to the 4-year-old and the 5-year-old.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
It'd probably pick up a little bit more oak on that, that 4th or 5th year. It's going to suck some of that oak out of there and make it more caramely, I think. Bring some of those sugars out of that wood would be nice. So, Jen, what was your first bourbon?
I'd have to say Maker's Mark.
How long ago was that?
While ago.
Was that as a teenager? Or?
No, not that far back.
You can't get whooped for it now.
No. I would say, gosh, late 30s, early 40s. So it's 10, 15 years.
Okay.
Oh, so you just gave us your age. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
What about you, Jay?
I'm responsible for that.
Well, yeah, you've pretty much over the course of the last 1.5 to 2 years, because I was always a beer drinker.
Okay.
I had delved into whiskey ever so slightly with the Crown Royal Black, because I tried Jack Daniel's bourbon or Jack Daniel's whiskey when I was a teenager with a buddy of mine across the street. His dad worked at a liquor store and he always had it on the shelf. So we tried it and I said, I'm never drinking that stuff again. I kind of switched over and just did beer specifically. And being a barracks rat in the military, you go buy a case of Budweiser and everybody's coming to your room to steal all your beer. So I started going to the craft brewing and kind of shifted focus to that because none of my buddies wanted to drink that. So I said, well, this is pretty smart because now I can spend my money on my beer and nobody else will drink it.
There you go.
Now, what was your first, you went to basic training there at Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Yes. I did.
Right after I did, actually.
Yeah, I was
Maybe
there.
you talked about that.
I was there in 92, May of 92 and left there September of 92. And then I was in reserves. So I went to reserves, stayed there for 2 years and then went active. And
so where was your first duty station after you went active duty?
Fort Lewis, Washington.
Fort Lewis, Washington. You remember moving into the barracks there?
Oh yeah. It's funny because our battalion mailroom, I'm admin by nature, and that's what I was in the military, human resources, administrative. And our barracks were the old World War II barracks that my father and his brother did basic training in 1968, 69. In our battalion mailroom, they tried to paint over red paint that said scheduled for demo 91 with white paint. So, of course, the way my career progressed, I went from there to, I did 5 months in Cuba during the Clinton years and the Cuban and Haitian migrant repatriation. And then went to Fort Jackson again.
So you were at Gitmo?
Yes.
How'd you like Gitmo?
I loved it.
Yeah.
We worked 6 days a week. But on Saturday afternoons, excuse me, we'd get off at about noon and 7 of us would go rent a boat and it cost us $6. Mm-hmm. And we'd stay out $6 a person. It was $42, but $6 a person. We'd stay out fishing all night.
And they still have Cable Beach down there?
Yes.
Yeah. Do they still allow you to cliff dive next to Cable Beach?
I never did that.
Oh, you didn't?
I don't think they do. I think they shut that beach down. It's still there, but I think they shut it down lately because of the prison stuff. And they have a port security unit from the Coast Guard down there guarding.
That makes sense.
All that. So they want to make sure nobody's out there. So
yeah, because even when I was down there back in 95, they had Camp X-Ray.
So pay call was by the time you went active duty, pay call wasn't not a thing. I don't think anymore, probably. Because when I talked about that before, when I first came in my first unit, you'd go up to the window and scream your Social Security out in front of 200 or 300 people.
Yep.
Right.
And then they would give you your pay in cash or cashier's checks or traveler's checks, whatever you wanted. They would give it to you.
Basic training in AIT. That's how they pay. That's how we got paid.
And then we had a beer machine in the barracks, and I always say that I'd go up there and just load that sucker up with quarters and load myself up with beer and take it up to my room, and we'd actually climb on top of the barracks and dangle our feet over to 3 or 4 stories and until somebody fell off the top. Then they shut that down.
Yeah, they shut that down.
Under fun. Somebody said, "Hold my beer." And
So you've been out of the military now how long?
I retired in October of 2015.
Okay. So what have you been doing since then? So what do you do for a living?
I'm a human resources director for a one-day denture clinic.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So you're hiring and firing?
Yes, the original one-day denture clinic.
So are they shaking their boots when they come to your office?
No. That's been probably the hardest transition in my life is going from total control in the military to no control on the civilian side.
Yeah.
now, Jim, what do you do?
I was service industry for over 20 years and have retired.
You were a bartender, you said,
Yes.
throwing that bourbon around,
Slinging drinks.
slinging drinks.
Yeah, it sounded like we were talking about this bottle shape. You knew what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice to know. You know what fits there, and you know about bottles and what other people like and stuff.
Sure.
You ever see yourself working at a distillery?
I think it would be fun.
Because marketing, to me, that's we just had Jackie Zykan on, and Jackie Zykan. She is the master taster for Old Forester, and
that would be a great job.
so she was a bartender, and I
nice.
think one of the things about that is not only that she can taste drinks and she has a good palate, but she also knows about marketing and what fits right on the shelf, and what goes together good, and
Sure.
what's going to sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes that's just as important as what's in the bottle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mike, I was just sitting here thinking, I was thinking, sometimes we do these podcasts, we got like an audience, a little bit of an audience when we do them. And I just got to looking up on the walls. I said, we have an audience today too.
We do.
I got a couple of deer hanging up on the wall.
They're watching.
Just a couple there. It's like the gallery. I'm waiting for them to clap.
Not a realtor's friend. We had sold a house up in Ohio, and she's like, "You got to take them deer down." I was like, "What? That's it. That'll sell this house." She's like, "No,
It won't.
No, it won't.
I think it probably would have sold it."
To
the right
To the
person.
1 in 10 that's a deer lover.
Man, America. That's all I got to say. America.
So you guys have been drinking bourbon now together for a couple of years.
Yeah.
You've been drinking longer than that, but together you guys have been kind of on this bourbon thing. Tell us about kind of how you got like head over heels into it. How did that happen?
It's fun. We get up on Saturdays and we'll go bourbon hunt for a couple hours and just see what you can find.
Yeah. Just so you have your like honey holes that you go to?
We found a few.
Yeah, we found at least one. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
That's where we got. I got an E.H. Taylor, an Eagle Rare, or E.H. Taylor small batch,
Okay.
Stag Junior,
Uh-huh.
batch 13, and Eagle Rare, all at the same shop, all within about $5 to $10 of MSRP.
Good.
So, and that's what everybody says is
Right.
you got to look for the places that don't have the prices out off through the roof.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he has a bottle of 107 Antique 107 there for $150.
Okay.
Sorry.
And you said pass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So do you guys have like a store real close to you that you frequent every weekend, or do you not do that? You just
we did, but the last time we went there and I was asking when the Elijah Craig was going to be released, they gave us such a bad attitude. I'm sorry. I'm just coming to ask a question about your business and see when it will be available, because I would like to come and purchase it from you.
I think
They get sick of
they probably do get tired of being asked about it. But the thing is what the store has to realize that if you shop there every day, or not every day, but if you're their loyal customer,
Right.
they also got I got a store up here, and I go in there, and every time I walk in there, he's like, I got something in the back for you.
Yeah.
But I've also seen people walk in there while I'm getting my bottle, and they'll say, hey, do you have anything? And he's like, nope. I sure don't. Because I'm his customer. I'm the guy that's putting the bread on the table for him. I'm buying a bottle, not every week, but I'll buy a bottle from him. And I got 2 stores I like going to. And Dad's Drinking Bourbon kind of beat us up for it. And this was my explanation about buying from a small store here that might be 10 or 20% more, is because by the time I drive all the way to Louisville and then drive all the way back, and I spend the time in the store there, I'm probably looking at about an hour, 15 minutes, hour 30, right, Jim?
That's right.
And then what's my time worth?
Right.
When I can just pop up here and pop in the store, and God knows me by first name.
Well, I was actually mentioned that to Jen on the way here today. Was talking about the last episode, and I completely understand that, because by the time your time, your gas to get to and from, you just paid the same price.
Yep.
So what's the difference?
Maybe even more whenever you think about how much you make per hour. Now that's not going to work, but still, you're like, man, and then I got to fight traffic. What happens if I get stuck in traffic going into Louisville? Because that can always happen in Louisville, probably anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
But it to me, and it's also nice to support that. I can go to Liquor Barn, but I'm just paying Liquor Barn. When I go over here to Paradise, or I go to the Bourbon Cellar, I'm paying them 2 families that own those 2 liquor stores,
right.
And I know who owns it. I know who the owner is. They've helped us out before, so
Absolutely.
it's nice.
So Mike and I we live about 10 miles apart.
Yep.
And I'm actually in Simpsonville, which is close to here, but we're a couple of exits apart.
Right.
And we've got a liquor store there as well. And that's my place. That's where I go to. And they're more expensive. And I pay the money.
Right.
I pay the money for the same reasons that Mike just mentioned.
Right.
I can get in the car and I can drive to, whatever, Liquor Barn or Total Wine, the big box stores, and I can definitely get it cheaper.
Right.
But I'm in and I'm out. It's just a shopping adventure, right? When I go to my local liquor store, I'm there for 45 minutes talking to the guy.
Exactly.
We have a relationship.
That's what it is. It's building relationships.
It's exactly
it's like
right.
when we went to
Augusta.
When we were in that one liquor store for probably 45 minutes
So
talking
you
to that
might
guy.
find your local liquor stores, try to build that relationship and ask who the owner is, because there's a liquor store here in town, and one of their employees, I probably don't like him too much, just because he give me the same kind of attitudes, and I'm like, I don't need that. I'll just go down the street.
Exactly.
Take my business elsewhere, and I'm fine with that.
Listeners can take our advice with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up to them how they want to do it. But for me, I get the pleasure out of chit-chatting with the owner, building a relationship. They take me on barrel picks. I get bottles set back for me, I pay a little bit more than I would elsewhere. Sometimes they give me a discount too. It all depends, so for me, that adds to the experience.
It's also nice to have your podcast co-host living 10 miles down the road, because if he sees something,
exactly,
or he's out on a trip and he says, hey, Mike, I see this. Do you want it? I need to have an emergency flash on my phone or something. Is what needs to happen. Like a slot machine's going off.
Like the bat cam.
Yeah. But the same thing, if I see something, if I'm up at Kroger or something like that, I see they have some Henry McKenna 10-year out, or I'm at Paradise, I see something, I'll text Jim and say, hey, you need to bottle this? Do you want a bottle? I went to Bardstown the other day and I said, hey, I'm going to stop by some distilleries. If there's something you're looking for that I might see, do you want it? And he was like, I'm good right now. He says he doesn't have anything, but he does. He's got a warehouse in his basement.
Well, but you gotta take a break every now and then. I mean, you can get to the point where you're spending too much money.
Oh yeah.
And you got to take a break for a little while and drink it.
Yep.
And then you can go back and shop some more. So,
right.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, I think it's probably a good place as any, Mike, for us to take a little short break here.
Yeah, we'll take a break. They brought a second bottle as a gift. Pretty nice. And then we could dive into what you guys do. You went to Buffalo Trace, and we'll talk about that in your next tours. How about that?
Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. would like to thank Tommy and Gwen Mitchell from Logheads Home Center for supporting this episode of the Bourbon Road. Logheads Home Center, nestled in the hills of Kentucky, is an industry leader in building handcrafted rustic furniture. Family owned and operated, they take pride in offering only the very best for their customers. The Logheads, and that's what they like to call themselves, are skilled woodcrafters who are passionate about creating rustic furniture for people who appreciate the beauty of natural wood. Owners Tommy and Gwen don't just sell the rustic lifestyle, they live it. And you can be sure that Logheads furniture will always be handcrafted in Kentucky by artisans who embrace the simple way of life. Logheads rustic furniture is made from northern white cedar, a sustainable wood that's naturally rot and termite resistant. Its beauty and quality will add warmth to your earthy lifestyle for generations to come. Be sure to check out everything they have to offer at logheadshomecenter.com. And while you're at it, give Tommy and Gwen a shout on Facebook or Instagram at Logheads Home Center. All right, we're back, and we've got Jay and Jen, and you're in from South Carolina, and we had a great first half. We really enjoyed ourselves, and for the second half, Mike and I are bringing a bottle. Actually, we're bringing a bottle that you brought for us.
Jim's cheap like that.
But anyway, yeah, so I put the word out that I was interested in getting my hands on the Elijah Craig Straight Rye, which is not available in Kentucky. It's made here, but it's not available
here.
But it is available in South Carolina.
It is.
Yes, it is.
You were kind enough to bring a bottle to us.
Yes, sir. Because I
Thank you
knew
so much.
you asked.
So I just thought it was appropriate, our first time tasting this, to have it on the show with them. This is the bottle we're bringing. Because, it kind of flip-flopped a little bit. Normally, we bring the bottle for the first half. Guest brings a bottle for the second half. And
to be fair, they showed up, and I put out just a couple bottles for them.
yeah.
Well, I made sure that they could try just pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Yes.
What all did we drink during the preamble to the show?
Oh, Wilderness Trail.
Some Rebel Yell.
I had the
Rebel
Rebel
10
Yell
year.
10 years.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's very
I
good.
had a little bit of that new Boone County. And Mike, I think.
I did some Rebel Yell, and then I did, and then I tried some of that Boone County. I'm shameful.
It's a great way to break up the day on Friday, isn't it?
That's all we did. That's all we did bourbon, though.
Well,
Light on the palate.
Mike's happy to hear that we're having a rye for the second half. And the second half here is all about the Elijah Craig Straight Rye, which is a new release that they just came out with. And I think the world is pretty happy about this in general.
It seemed like everybody, when it first came out and people were posting about it, that everybody had good things to say about it.
Yeah.
You're always going to have that one or two guys that probably never tasted it. It's like, it's horrible. Well, how do you know? Because it just came out.
Right.
But at least let it open it up, get it out of the neck, and let it breathe a little bit.
Well, exactly. And not only that, the reason there are so many expressions of bourbon out there and expressions of rye is because there's so many palates, and we all like something different. And for me, I kind of lean towards the spicier liquids. Mike likes the sweeter ones. But we drink a little bit of what each other likes.
Yeah.
What about you guys? What do you prefer?
I like the Weededs.
As long as it's good, I'll drink it.
So you're
Honestly.
not more spicy or sweet?
I tend to like the spice more than Jen does.
Okay.
But just because it's spicy or just because it's sweeter doesn't mean I won't drink either or.
So are you learning to like, a lot of people think, oh, you're a whiskey drinker. You're just shooting whiskey back like whiskey shots.
Right.
And that's the worst thing you can do,
No,
right?
Horrible.
Exactly. That's the worst thing you can do.
And that's what we like to tell people: take your time with it. Whiskey is made to sip.
Exactly.
I think of a gentleman's whiskey, I guess, is what I think when I think of whiskey. Is some old dudes sitting around in their cigar jackets, sipping on their whiskey, right?
Yeah. Mike?
Yeah, I think you're going to be disappointed. It's sweet.
Well, I kind of thought it would be sweet, but let's talk about it a little bit. So this is Elijah Craig Straight Rye. It's a new release that they just come out with. I think everybody's sort of working. If they don't have a rye, they're working on their ryes.
Yeah.
What do you think? This is a 94 proof Kentucky style rye. Right? Kentucky style means it's got quite a bit of corn in it, right? So this is probably sitting at, we don't know what the mash bill is exactly, but it's probably sitting in the 50 to early 60s range on rye with a high amount of corn in it.
Probably at 25% corn, maybe, and then 10% barley.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The mash bill may have leaked. It may be out there. Who knows? But I don't know what it is. But there's a lot of good Kentucky style rye. You've got Knob Creek and some others like Rittenhouse, and
this is like drinking cinnamon candy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely kind
Jen's
of
like, I don't know about all that. So, Jen, you guys went over to Buffalo Trace this morning, right?
We did.
And you said you didn't get to take a tour because it was early, or you were pressed for time for a little bit,
Yeah,
right?
we were a little pressed.
So, what'd you guys get over there?
We got a bottle of Blanton's, 2 bottles of Buffalo Trace. That was it.
And a white dog for your brother.
And a white dog.
And a white dog.
Does he drink the white dog, or does he want to put it in oak?
He wants to put it in oak.
There you go.
Yeah.
And what kind of oak is he going to use for that? Do you know? Or
Oh, I have no idea. He just told me to get it, so I got it for him.
So we actually, you can tell your brother, we actually got a bottle sent to us. It's called Oak Bottle.
Okay.
We still haven't tried it out yet. We got to do a show about that. But it's a oak bottle, and it's charred inside, and you can age white dog in it. You can age wine in it. You could age pretty much anything.
It holds a full bottle?
No, it's a 3. They have a full bottle one.
Okay.
We got the 375 one,
Right.
to try out. I just haven't had time to do it.
I've seen a lot of those.
I'm excited to do it. The people I've seen do it, it has definitely changed that color and that bourbon or whiskey, whatever they're putting in it. So that might be something you want to
that'd be
think about
fun
for your brother.
Yeah.
Out there. They are I think they're kind of pricey, but it's got like 70 uses. You can use it 70 times. So I think that's something cool to do.
Which
that'd
isn't
be
bad,
fun.
because I think some of the barrels don't have that many uses.
No. I mean, the thing's, it's heavy, and it's a nice design.
I think we'll try it in a couple different ways, huh? Maybe we'll try some white dog in it. Maybe we'll try maybe a younger bourbon, give it a little bit of chance to.
One of the things I wanted to do was take a Weller Special Reserve and put it in there and see how dark I could get that Weller Special Reserve, and see if it's just some chocolatey goodness that just comes out of there.
Yeah.
Some people are like, I can't believe you do that with that Special Reserve, but hey, I want to see if I can get it darker than the 12-year.
Your bourbon, your way.
Hey, we say that all the time.
That's right.
I wholeheartedly believe that. Somebody will dog on us about putting a bottle up, and I'm like, hey, I paid for that.
Right.
I paid for it, and I liked it. I put it up there because I thought fellow bourbon drinkers will like it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll put the bottom shelf bourbon up there because I want to show people that I might not necessarily drink that neat, like cabin steel, but I'll put it in a mule and drink it, and it tastes just fine to me.
Yeah.
I mean, for like $7.99 for a bottle of it, that's pretty good.
That's a lot of mules.
So where else are you guys going today?
Well, today, supposed to go to Woodford.
Okay.
So hit them up when we leave here.
And you're going to be one of the last tours there, right? Because they're kind of shutting things down, aren't they?
Yes.
I believe so, yeah.
Well, hopefully by the time this episode airs, we're through this. I call it a big mess or fear mongering. I think, hopefully it doesn't get that bad, and hopefully I'm right and everybody else is wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, Woodford has sent out a press release today
Right.
that said that they're shutting down their tours, and others are following, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
Brown Foreman.
Foreman in
said
general.
all theirs. I think today Kentucky was the 15th, and Tennessee, which is Jack Daniels, is the 16th.
Right. It was. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that
'cause-
affects that particular shutdown affects Woodford. It affects Old Forester, and you're going to both those places.
We're going to Old
We're gonna
Forester
try.
tomorrow.
You're going to try to.
Yeah.
All right, and then of course it affects Jack Daniels in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And Beam closed down yesterday, didn't they?
Yes.
Yes.
Now they just completely shut everything down
Yeah.
there. I think.
I
'cause-
believe so, yes.
Yeah,
And see,
Wild Turkey put something out and said they're going to close down tours, and I was kind of surprised to see Jimmy Russell look like he was at the distillery yesterday, giving meeting tourists and stuff, and I was kind of surprised with that because he's not
a young man.
No, not a young man, and
Right.
he would be at high risk.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't know who's coming in there. I'd almost have a bouncer at the door and said, here's some hand sanitize, squirt them hands.
Right.
Or maybe pour some wild turkey on top of your hands.
Yeah,
Some 101 for Jim.
That's right. Yeah, you don't need hand sanitizer, wild turkey. You just need some 101.
Wash your hands, and here's a cup of mouthwash too. So Jay, you're a listener. You probably are number one fan on Instagram or on Facebook. You're in our Roadies group, always talking. What drew you to our podcast?
The honesty, the way you guys review the bourbon that you drink, and you guys don't bullshit around. You give your opinion, you tell people what you think, and let everybody else decide. If they want to try it, try it. If you don't. That's pretty much it. I mean, it's you guys are down to business. You know what you want to do each episode. You know each episode and the way it's supposed to go. The information that you guys get from distillers, from musicians, from whoever you guys interview. It's just fun to listen to that and to listen to the history and to listen to how engaged your interviewees are, I guess I could say. Even when you guys do the I think it was the New Year's Eve episode where you did the blind tasting.
Okay. Right.
That was so much fun to listen to because you guys were just talking, just bullshitting.
Yeah.
And that was it.
We say that hashtag bourbon bullshitters.
I mean, that's it.
Well, you've learned so much too.
Oh yeah. I've learned more listening to your show than I could have picking up a book.
Yeah.
Oh shucks.
Well, that's a great
that's
compliment.
true, though. I mean,
appreciate that
because
you
he's
guys
very new to this,
and you're giving your honest opinion.
And I think that's all we can do is me and Jim is, we talk about that all the time. We just want to be us. And,
right.
Yeah, we're not any kind of bourbon experts. I mean, we just like to drink it just like the rest of you guys do. And we know what we like. I think everybody, regardless of how sophisticated your palate might be,
right,
you know what you like.
Right.
So whether or not you can express it in terms of notes and all this other stuff, you can always say whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that's what counts.
Sure.
Here's my thing is I do think Jim is a bourbon expert. He's spot on stuff. If you looked what the distiller put out as notes for a bourbon or a whiskey, Jim's pretty spot on to that. Me, on the other hand, he does sensory too, where he has his memories of, I've always pick on him about charred hot dog or
right.
cedar. And I'm like, you chewing on a cedar stave or something? No, it's just that memory he has of walking into a horse barn or something. Or me, I got a sweet tooth. So I'm always thinking, Twizzlers or Honey Smack'em cereal or something like that.
Right.
Or,
yeah.
With this right here, I used to love cinnamon candies and just sucking on that cinnamon candy, especially when we're out at sea or something and just kind of pass the time. And this rye right here kind of has that cinnamon taste to me, sweetness to it. I was kind of surprised by it.
Yeah. So this is another baking spice kind of sweet, upfront baking spice kind of rye. For me, I think that, the finish on it is not real long.
It's kind of drying on the finish.
A little drying.
On the back of the palate.
Yeah.
Little dry.
I think it's probably, if you're talking about mixing it, and ryes are great for making Manhattans and making, old fashions. I think it's a bit sweet, but it'd probably make it'd make a good old fashioned. I think it'd be a little bit sweet though. This is sweeter than what I think when I think of like, some of the other ryes that are out there, like a Rittenhouse or a Knob Creek. I think it's a little bit sweeter than those. What about you? You think the same? I
can see that. I've never had the Knob Creek, but I have had, obviously this one.
Yeah.
And I'm at a loss for words for which other ones I've actually had. Whistle Pig 10-year, but it's just a different flavor profile than.
Now the Whistle Pigs are 95.5s, right? So they're high rise.
Right.
I mean,
it's
definitely
rise, right? Definitely a different flavor profile.
Yeah.
Tastes like some rye bread to you, Jen.
It pickles. It tastes like pickles to me.
Pickle juice.
It does. Oh,
hey, that's your taste though, right? Yeah, you're the one that's got to like it. So, and you're a weeded person.
Yeah,
so, well, what's your favorite wheat?
Well, we've just been able to find those 2 bottle of Wellers that we have. I think right now those might be
Well,
This might be it.
You're in Kentucky. I mean, they got it here. They're putting it out. You guys said you bought some weeded bourbon today. You bought the Wilderness Trail.
We did.
Which to me is right up there, one of the top weeded bourbons out there. You got to taste one of my store picks today.
Yeah,
it was Butterscotch Bomb.
Fantastic.
And it tastes, even smells like butterscotch. It's delicious.
My favorite bourbon right now, though, is that the Woodford Doubled Oak is amazing.
Now, Woodford Double Oak isn't a weeded bourbon.
Right? No, it's not. It's not.
But
it's not.
It is
It's a
so
fantastic
before you
bourbon.
leave here, I have a double up on the shelf.
Nice.
So we'll have to let you try that.
Yeah.
But we did that blind tasting on New Year's Eve, and that's what I brought.
Yeah.
And that's what won.
Well, as soon as they came downstairs, I already knew what it was.
Yeah.
I was like, that's my glass. And everybody else was like, well, we don't know what that is. And I was like, that's mine right there. I know what it is. That stuff is chocolate dark.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is going to win the night right here.
Yeah.
And
it's pure butterscotch to me. It tastes
went
like
up against
butterscotch.
some big name bourbons. Four Roses, right? We had, what else did we have?
We had a Four Roses small batch select.
Yep.
And then
Jefferson Reserve.
we had the Jefferson's Reserve, just the standard Jefferson Reserve release.
Yep.
And we had, what do we have from Buffalo Trace?
I don't know if we had a Buffalo Trace, did
What
we?
did Troy bring?
Man,
I don't remember what he brought either.
I don't know, but it's. Are you going to go look up on your phone?
I am going to have to look it up now because I'm thinking.
Well,
man,
Mike's searching that on the phone. So you guys are staying in Lexington. What places are kind of on your list of to dos over there?
Well, I definitely, after listening to your show at Bluegrass Distillers, I would love to go there and be able to pour a bottle.
You're going to fill a bottle?
I would love to.
Awesome.
and that's
it's just
pretty special.
It's just a cool
different feel.
thing to be able to do.
Yeah.
To be able to say, "Hey, I went there and I poured that bottle and I sealed the bottle and I took it home with me."
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you wrote your own label too.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll sit there and write your own label.
Yeah.
And you'll
That's
put
fun.
it. They've got a log register. You get to register the bottle in the official log.
Nice.
But
Just in case the tax man comes after you.
taxman coming.
Right.
But yeah, so they were supposed to release their bottle and bond. I don't know if you remember the episode, but the
Yeah.
bottle and bond was releasing in March.
I think
Which
it was.
is
So right about now.
Right about now.
Yeah.
I think it was right around now. And March 7th, they did the Humane Society
Okay.
bottles that they had talked about.
Okay.
Cool little place. When you guys drive over there, it's kind of hard. I would say hard to find because it's on the side of the building where you think it'd be on the front, but not a whole lot of parking there.
Yeah.
Well, probably Uber.
Uber it over
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
yeah.
That beautiful. It's a little bitty distillery. They're in an old warehouse and stuff. And
Oh, and you're a beer guy too. So, they're right next door to West Six Brewing.
Yes.
So they have some great beers there.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
some great places there in Lexington. I think you guys picked a great time because it's not too hot here. If you'd come in the summertime, it'd be sweltering heat here.
Yeah.
Probably like South Carolina.
Yeah.
Columbia.
I know when you guys are in the group and you're talking about coming in here, you're saying, where should we go? What should we do? And you got all these people saying, check this out, check that out. I'm sure you were told about OBC Kitchen,
Yes.
Bell's,
Yes.
probably heard about the Whiskey Bear. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else. Justin's House of Bourbon's over
Yes.
there. They got one in Louisville now as well.
Yes.
I'd say
Where
the distillery district, we told you guys about that. They have the
Old Pepper.
Old Pepper distillery. That's where it's at. And they've got
You grab a little pizza over at Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. They got a cider mill over there. They got an axe throwing place. I don't know if you want to do that after you've been drinking bourbon with us, but
They've got a few of those in Columbia now too. They're fun.
chop a pinky toe off.
Right.
Jason will be going back to work on Monday. Is that when you go back to work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pinky toe. No pinky toes. What happened to you? Well, I went to Kentucky and
That's all you should say.
with these two fellows
Started
on the
throwing
podcast,
axes.
and they were like, "You should go to those axe throwing place," and I chopped my damn pinky toe off.
Right.
So what do you guys think about this? So you got to come to Louisville or the Louisville area, the Bourbon Trail, and you get to visit some distilleries, and you get to come on as a guest on the Bourbon Road. How cool is that?
Very fun.
That's pretty awesome.
So what would you tell the other listeners out there that are like, I want to go there, but I don't want to be on that show. I can't be on Mike. Jen, what would you tell them?
to go ahead and do it. It's a lot of fun.
Not. I mean, you were a little hesitant, right?
Little nervous, but I'm okay.
She's kicked back now.
Yeah, she wanted to hang. She wanted to hang out with Viv.
I did.
She got some of that
I was
liquid
going to hang out
courage.
with Viv.
Well, I bet when you're driving down here, you're like, where does this big chief guy live at? He lives down in a holler.
Yeah, that road went forever.
But
Yeah.
it's beautiful horse country out there.
Oh,
Hopefully-
it
it's
is.
awesome.
And when
Yeah.
you guys
beautiful.
drive to Woodford Reserve, you're going to want to stop all over the place because there's nothing but racehorses over there.
Oh, I'm sure.
Beautiful. And if you have a chance, drive through Keeneland.
Okay.
Not the leaves aren't on the trees right now, so it is kind of dreary still, but it's still Keeneland's a beautiful place.
Yeah, it's a good time of year to come here because, well, you know, the trees are still, like you said, you know, the trees are still kind of bare, just starting to bud out, but the grass is turning green,
It is.
and the daffodils are starting to come up.
Yeah, I got them wild onions coming up right
Yeah.
now. Drive me insane. almost went out there this morning and mowed we got little 2 front pieces of grass there. And I was like, man, there's one piece that's like a foot high already. And I'm like, it's driving me nuts.
All right,
need
so
to-
we've tried the rye, we've tried the other one you brought, Mike. Why don't you let one of these guys pick something and throw it into the mix? You guys would like to have something else we'll throw into the show here?
What's something that you haven't had? I don't care what it is. And there's everything over there. I would say there's 2 bottles over there. I'm not going to open until my grandkids' birth. So
Not even
Yeah.
worried about that. I'm looking at something directly behind me
Yeah.
that's already open,
Yeah.
what is it?
and I can't decide if the Weller Foolproof or the Weller 12.
Well, I'll tell you that Weller Foolproof, Jim went on that pick. But that Weller 12 is, I'd say both of them are pretty hard to find.
Yeah.
I would say let's do the 12.
Yeah. You want to try the
let's
12?
do it.
Yeah.
Let's do some Weller 12. All right. And while Mike is going to pull out the Weller 12, we'll talk a little bit about your Buffalo Trace tour this morning. So tell me, which tour did you go on?
Well, we ended up not going on the tour.
Okay.
Because for safety precautions, because of coronavirus, they were only letting 50 people at a time in the gift shop. So that line was backed up because everybody realized that today was the Blanton's release day.
Got it.
So a lot of people showed up for that specifically. And as people were coming out, so if 2 people came out of the gift shop, they would let 2 more people in.
Okay.
So that took up a majority of the time this morning. And we wanted to make sure to get this hit time and get here for the show. So,
I think, at least at Buffalo Trace, that's pretty much a normal thing there. That line at the gift shop, hoping to pick up a Blanton's, is something that happens pretty much every day. Now, Mike, they have those, I'm asking you a question and you're off microphone right now, but I think that they have those, the day of the week that they normally get those in is like Thursday or Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So today was a Friday and they had the Blantons out.
Yes.
Great. So after this, you're going to Woodford.
yes,
And which tour are you going on at Woodford? Just the Woodford tour, right?
just a Woodford tour.
I don't think they have different tours there, do they?
I don't know that they do. I didn't get real specific with it. I just signed up for a tour and
Yeah.
went from there.
Okay. Well, I know that they do have some cocktails being served in their waiting room. They've got a beautiful lounge there with a big fireplace and a bottle shop in there and a gift shop, and it's really nice. And then the tours sort of originate from there.
Yeah.
Mike, do they have multiple tours there or just one? Do you remember?
I think they're like any other brown forming place. They got different levels there
Do
and
they?
stuff. Yeah, of tours you can do. I think you got to ask for them though.
It seems like the only times I've ever been there, it's been with Elizabeth McCall or somebody. So I've had kind of the private.
I've only went to the gift shop there, to be honest with you. Now Vivian, she's made it past the gift shop. She took our son over there and he wanted to go over there. And, I don't know if you've heard us talk about that before, but my son is like, he loves bourbon. And I'm glad he does. I mean, I'm glad he sits and I asked him the other day, I said, hey, have you broke into your plans yet? And he's like, nope, got it all. I got it hidden.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a good boy right there. So tomorrow, what are you going to Old Forester, which is another Brown Forman distillery downtown Louisville. Now, what is something special about that?
We're doing the Nothing Better in the Market tour, and a fellow roadie member and his wife are also doing the same tour tomorrow. I don't remember how I saw it and how he came about saying he was doing it, But I Facebook messaged him and said, "Hey, I'll see you at the tour." He said, "Well, that's awesome. Look forward to seeing you." So we're probably going to see each other at the tour tomorrow.
Well, there you go. That's a good reason to let everybody know. Not a bad idea to join a Roadies, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's awesome. There's great conversation in there. I'll put it to you like this. We had joined a little bourbon page local in Columbia,
Uh-huh.
and Jen posted something and everybody came in trash talking.
Okay.
Don't know the reason. Don't know why. Couldn't explain it. So we were like instantly turned off. We both defriended the group. Said no, not going to have it, because I don't want to go somewhere where people are going to bring negativity towards my opinion, her opinion, anybody's opinion on what they want to drink and what they're going to pay for it.
I think, and I'm not going to say anything bad about anybody out there because everybody does their own thing. But I think that a Facebook group can take on the personality or the morals or whatever you want to call it of the administrators.
Yes.
Whatever the administrators want it to be and how they manage it and enforce things, it's going to control. So if a lot of those people come in there, and I don't know if you want to call them trolls or whatever it is, and they're allowed to get away with it,
Right.
then that's going to perpetuate and it's going to become like that.
Oh, yeah, it's like a forest fire. I mean, it just spreads.
You know what I do is I try to kill them with kindness, and hey,
Oh, yeah.
even me and Jim, we have those people that you don't know what you're talking about, and they don't know really who they're. I wouldn't say who they're talking to, because I don't think I'm anybody. I'm just bourbon bullshitter, but I don't think they knew who they're talking about or where I live at. We do live on the Bourbon Trail.
Right.
Yes, you do.
And we have access to people that most people don't have access to. And we get to taste bourbons that some people will never get to taste. Me and Jim were the first two people or fifth people on the fourth and fifth person on the planet of the earth to try Old Forester Birthday Bourbon 2020.
Nice.
Nice.
Most people don't get that experience.
Sure.
And we're lucky enough to get that experience. And I don't go on those groups and brag about that.
Right.
Right.
But it's also good to know who you're talking to.
Exactly.
And just, I would say, kill them with kindness.
Oh yeah, I don't even think I commented. It was just
it
took on this whole life of its own. It was like, what in the world just happened? Like,
Yeah.
I find it as a challenge. I'm like, hey, thank you for giving me so much attention. I really appreciate your support.
Right.
And cheers. And then if they say something back, hey, I love it, man. I really dig it. And, hey, my bourbon my way, I paid for it. Or somebody says, I hate that bourbon and I got a bottle of it. I'm like, well, heck, ship it to me and I'll drink it. I mean, I'll be fine. I got friends that'll drink it. I got plenty of friends.
Right.
Yeah, I'll share it with them.
Don't pour that down the drain. I'll pay the shipping.
Exactly.
But another thing is, and you guys have seen it. You guys have been in the group for a while. I mean, somebody will say something, some comment about Wilderness Trail or something, and then Pat Heist will come in and, from Wilderness Trail, and he'll make a comment about it. He'll set it straight.
Right.
Or Lisa Wicker from Widow Jane will come in and say, yeah, this is what I was thinking when I did that. So we've got some distillers who are in there. And so it's a great place to just chit chat and be real, I think. And
it really is. It really is.
I don't think we'll ever allow it to be, it's going to be what me and Jim want it to be. Really, is we want it to be clean, we want it to be fun, and we don't want anybody to bash anybody in there. If somebody puts a bottle of Cabin Steel up in there, put it up in there.
Sure.
Right.
If you made some homemade hooch at your house, put it up in there. I do not care.
Exactly.
Hey, if you're drinking it, don't put your address on there.
It's okay.
Right.
Well, let's talk about what is okay. Let's say somebody is drinking Weller 12 and another person comes in and says, I drink Weller 12 and it wasn't my thing. That's okay.
That is fine.
That's okay, because they're talking about them and their experience, but don't talk about somebody else's experience.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's fine to say, hey, I don't dig that bourbon. I don't like it. Whatever. To say something's trash, I think that's to where there's a fine line there, to where if you say something's trash or it's disgusting or, hey, it don't fit my palate, I'm fine with that. I like that.
We got all these listeners out there going, these guys are drinking Weller 12 and they're not even talking about it. So come on, guys. Let's talk about the Weller 12.
Come on now, Jen. You got to sip on this.
I was just letting him go first.
I've already been sipping on it.
Oh, well then.
Now, is this the first time you've had this?
Yes.
Wow.
Well, it It is a special bourbon.
Yes, it is.
Weller 12 is definitely a special bourbon. We don't talk a lot about price on here because price is relative to your, what you're willing to spend for something is relative to your earning capacity.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So it's not always good to talk about price. We'll say what the price is, but whether or not you should spend the money on it, that's entirely up to you. Weller 12 is a fine bourbon.
it is.
It's well crafted. They say that sweet spot is 8 to 12 years. I think Weller 12 is at the pinnacle of that sweet spot.
I mean, it's a good weeded bourbon.
That is beautiful.
See, that, to me, I love saying something like that. That's a sexy bourbon.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. It is. I don't mind saying how much I paid for that bottle because I don't think I overpaid for it. I didn't get to pay retail for it. It's almost impossible to find one at retail unless you want to spend 4 hours, 6 hours out at Liquor Barn when they're doing a release or something. And I just don't have the time to do that.
Right.
But I had a friend said, "Hey, I can get you a bottle for $100." Man, that sounds like a great deal to me.
I do that all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah. Well, another friend asked the same guy. I said, "Hey, can I get a bottle of that $100 Weller 12?" No, you cannot.
No, you cannot.
Well, let's talk about it a little bit. So this is definitely an oak forward bourbon. You guys agree with that?
Yes.
Definitely.
It's got a richness to it and a high amount of caramel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a lot of caramel, almost to the point of, I'm not going to say butterscotch because it's not burnt, but definitely it's got that rich caramel flavor to it. And I'm still on the nose, but
I've almost drank my whole glass here. I mean, I poured myself a big old heavy pour of it. And I'm starting to feel the Big Chief ready to roll.
but one thing I'll say about Weller is it's a well-balanced bourbon. It doesn't like jut out too much on the front or the back or the sides of the palate. It just sort of hits you everywhere, gives you that nice experience, and the finish is medium to long.
Yeah, I think every one of their bourbons, either from the Weller Special Reserve to the Full Proof and their Antique, all of them are not the same, but they all are great drinkers. And I'll say to somebody, what's your bourbon? And I'll say, "Oh, Weller Special Reserve," and they're like, "What? Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I drink." I mean, I actually shipped a bottle to somebody, and my wife said, "How many more bottles do you got of that?" And I was like, "I don't know, 400 or 500." The cabinet there, we're good. We got a
Secret stash,
little stockpile.
Well, after listening to several of your episodes and you guys stating repeatedly, you have to get to know or have a conversation with those liquor store owners. And because I did that when we went to Augusta and we spent 45 minutes in this mom and pop store, Jen asked, "Do you have any Weller?" He said, "As a matter of fact, I do." And so he came out of the back and he had a Weller Special Reserve for $30.02 after tax.
That's pretty good price.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
Not only did you have a good time chatting with the owner,
exactly.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
And will I go back to him? Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. That was worth the 45-minute to hour drive.
That's worth for the price of admission right there. Yeah. That's good that you guys have started creating that, and you've went out there and you've got on your own bourbon road, and you're starting to enjoy life a little bit. As well you should after being in the military for so long. And you're out there just enjoying our bourbon culture, I think is one of the great things about this American spirit is just, it's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, I really appreciate you coming to our part of the world, spending some time with us and hanging out, sharing your bourbon with us.
I want to thank you for having us.
It's a blast. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had a great time.
So you've been inside my house,
It's
right?
it's an amazing house. Very nice.
So just to tell all the listeners out there, because we always say, if you come in my house, I'll open any bottle.
They're all open already. I know there's a couple everybody's going to wait on for grandkids or whatever the special occasion may be. And that's your right. That's your bourbon.
Yeah.
You can do that. And, nobody should get upset because somebody says, I'm holding off on that one. You got to wait for that one.
So if people want to find you out there, you guys are in the Bourbon Roadies.
Yes, we
You're
are.
on
Yes.
Facebook.
Yes.
Don't really do Instagram too much, but
Not too much.
Facebook's kind of your thing.
Yeah,
But they can find you in the Bourbon Roadies. And
definitely.
what is your Facebook name?
Jason Waller.
And yours?
Jennifer Waller.
Jennifer and Jason Waller on Facebook in the Bourbon Roadies.
Yours is actually Jennifer Greg Waller.
I
Jennifer.
apologize. It is Jennifer Greg Waller.
There you go. Well, once they join the Roadies, they'll see you guys are in there and you're very active.
Yes.
And they can strike up a conversation with you. Probably going to find a post from you within the last day or so because you're
Most
pretty
likely.
active.
Yes. Most likely. Yes.
So while we got you on air, I'm gonna put you on the spot real fast. So me and Jim would like to ask you if you'd like to be one of the new moderators for the Bourbon
I
Roadies.
Yeah. What do you think, Jason?
I think I could do that.
So have you got that wherewithal to give a boot in the butt when it has to happen?
If it needs to, yeah.
But
Well,
it-
I was a drill sergeant. I was a drill sergeant for 3 years. Of course, I can do it.
But you know it won't. It's too nice in there, isn't it? Everybody's so good.
It is.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
So you can find me or us at thebourbonroad.com. You can find us on Instagram and on Facebook at The Bourbon Road. You can find me at One Big Chief on Instagram and Facebook.
I'm Jay Shannon 63, and we actually have, and we'll mention it once again, a private Facebook group, which is called the Bourbon Roadies. And where like-minded people like to hang out and just chit-chat about bourbon and things related, their trips to the bourbon country or whatever it might be. And you might even find out that you can meet up with somebody for a tour of a distillery, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, we've really enjoyed having you guys on the show today. It's been a blast. We hope that other listeners will reach out to us like you guys did, and we can have them on the show at some point. I think it's something we might want to do from time to time, Mike. What do you think?
Oh, I think it's a great idea.
All right.
You know, I got to get me some Instagram shots while we're doing this.
Well, I'm smiling. So
We'll get some before they take off.
all right. Well, we're on the Bourbon Road, but we want you guys to enjoy the rest of your trip down the Bourbon Road. So, Jennifer,
Thank you.
Jay,
Thank you.
thank you for stopping in.
Cheers.
Thank you for having us.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We do appreciate all of our listeners, and we'd like to thank you for taking time out of your day to hang out with us here on the Bourbon Road. We hope you enjoyed today's show, and if so, we would appreciate if you'd subscribe and rate us a 5-star with a review on iTunes. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the Bourbon Road. That way you'll be kept in the loop on all the Bourbon Road happenings. You can also visit our website at thebourbonroad.com to read our blog, listen to the show, or reach out to us directly. We always welcome comments or suggestions, and if you have an idea for a particular guest or topic, be sure to let us know. And again, thanks for hanging out with us.